Welcome to the WHMIS Online Learning Quick Response Orientation. This is Module 3, Emergencies. While it is always the goal to try to work safely and prevent harmful incidents, a sudden turn of events can quickly create an emergency situation. Knowing how to quickly and effectively deal with emergencies can mean the difference between staying safe and succumbing to an injury. This module will discuss a variety of emergency situations and provide a general overview on some techniques and strategies for dealing with emergencies you may encounter when deployed to other organizations. In addition to what you're going to learn here, organizations you are deployed to will also be required to train you on their specific emergency procedures and policies. Your workplace is a very dynamic and unique environment. This means the types of emergencies you may encounter will also be very unique. Some possible emergencies could include natural disasters, fire, exposure to chemicals, biological agents or radiation, loss of electrical power, water supply, or communication, workplace violence, and chemical spills. Dealing with emergencies. Regardless of the type of emergency you encounter, it is important you know what steps you need to take to keep yourself and everyone safe. The organization you're working with will have specific emergency procedures and will provide you with instructions on how to follow them. But in general, when an incident or emergency occurs, you should find a safe place. If possible, find a safe place for yourself or others that is away from any harm. If this is a situation of violence and the violent person is still present, then leave and find a safe location. If needed, seek and/or provide additional assistance. If needed, provide any first aid or medical help. You may need to contact 911 and follow the dispatcher's instructions. Report any injuries to your supervisor. When it's safe to do so, contact your immediate supervisor to report any injuries you have and follow their instructions. Do not disturb the incident scene. Unless you need to provide assistance to another individual, you should not disturb the scene of the incident, as other agencies such as RCMP, Department of Labor, and Advanced Education may need to conduct an investigation. Fire is one of the most dangerous workplace emergencies. Knowing how to properly respond to a fire emergency can be critical for ensuring the health and safety of yourself and everyone at the facility. The organization you're working with will have a fire safety plan. This covers all aspects of fire safety for that organization, including the safe and orderly way for occupants to evacuate the building. Fire procedures are posted in every building, and all staff are expected to be familiar with them and carry out the procedures in any fire alert situation. It is the responsibility of all workers to know the proper response to a fire situation. As a deployed worker, you should have a basic understanding of where the closest fire extinguishers are, where the closest fire alarm pull stations are, where the emergency fire exits are located, the fire alert procedures for that site, and the organization's evacuation procedures and what role you play in that. There may be times when small fires can be contained using a portable fire extinguisher. The following video will go over the basics of selecting and using a portable fire extinguisher. It should be noted that you should only use a fire extinguisher if you have been trained specifically by the organization you have been deployed to, and you must follow their specific fire protocols.
Alert! Before using a fire extinguisher, ensure that someone notifies the fire department, alerts others about the fire, begins evacuating others from the premises. Fire extinguishers are for controlling small fires before they have a chance to spread. Before using one, make sure that you have a clear escape, you are familiar with the operating instructions of the fire extinguisher, and that the fire extinguisher you have is suitable for the fire you're facing. Before using the extinguisher on a fire, look at the fire class symbols on the front label to make sure the extinguisher you have is suitable for the type of fire you're facing. The most common classes of fires are A, B, C, and K. Class A fires involve common combustibles like wood, paper, and tires. Class B fires involve flammable liquids like gasoline and petroleum oil. Class C ratings involve energized equipment or things that are plugged in, like appliances, computers, televisions, and electric machinery. Class K fires involve cooking oils and greases, like vegetable fats. Once you've determined that the extinguisher is the correct type for the hazard, proceed to operate the extinguisher using the pass technique to control and extinguish the fire. First, hold the extinguisher upright and pull the pin. Next, stand 8 to 10 feet from the fire and aim the nozzle at the base of the fire. Do not get too close or aim the nozzle too high. Once the nozzle is aimed at the base of the fire, squeeze the levers together to begin discharge of the fire extinguishing agent. Maintain your distance from the fire and sweep the nozzle from side to side, sweeping 3 to 6 inches beyond the right and left edges of the fire. Discharge the extinguisher until contents are exhausted to prevent reignition. Move around the fire to confirm it is completely extinguished. Your quick action can save lives and protect property. Using the fire extinguisher properly is only one part of a fire safety plan. For more information and training videos, go to www.femalifesafety.org.
There may be incidents where a fire emergency will require you to aid in the facility evacuation. You will need to follow the organization's specific fire evacuation protocols, but in general, you will want to remain calm, follow procedures established by the organization, direct everyone to use the designated fire exits, proceed quickly and directly to the designated meeting area, and respond to small fires with fire extinguishers, but only if you are trained to use a fire extinguisher. Evacuation procedures may vary depending on the nature of the emergency, which may include situations of fire, bomb threat, or extreme threats of violence. The organization will have procedures for the effective evacuation of the building, and it will be your responsibility to follow them. The first 10 to 15 seconds after exposure to a hazardous substance, especially a corrosive substance, are critical. Delaying treatment, even for a few seconds, may cause serious injury. Emergency showers and eyewash stations provide on-the-spot decontamination. They allow you to flush away hazardous substances that can cause injury. There may be times when you are exposed to chemicals or biological products. The organization will have designated emergency shower stations for these emergencies, and will train you specifically on where and how to use them. In the event you are exposed to chemical or biological products, immediately go to the nearest shower station, activate the shower station. This will depend on the type of shower system that is installed. Flush the area for at least 15 minutes, remove affected clothing while flushing, and seek medical help. There may be the chance you will have some sort of chemical exposure in your eyes. When this happens, it is imperative for you to flush your eyes to ensure there is no permanent damage to your eyes. The organization you will be deployed to will have designated eyewash stations for these emergencies and will train you specifically where and how to use them. In general, if you do have chemicals exposed to your eyes, you should go to the nearest eyewash station, activate the eyewash station flush. With your fingers, hold your eyelids open, place your eyes directly into the water, flush your eyes for 15 minutes, and seek medical help. Many of the individuals you provide care for may have cognitive behaviors that lead to uncontrollable acts of aggression and violence. Many of these incidents originate from unintentional triggers, which can be more subjective and are not easily noticeable. The organization you are working for recognizes that everyone at the workplace, including workers, clients, residents, and visitors, have the right to be protected from threats of workplace violence. For this reason, they have developed a workplace violence prevention plan that outlines their commitment and strategies for ensuring that everyone is protected from threats of workplace violence. Your responsibility will be to use those strategies and processes when you encounter acts of violence. If you encounter workplace violence, you need to get any help that you may need, such as call a code white, police, or medical, and follow their instructions. As soon as it's safe to do so, contact your supervisor and report the incident, and follow any and all workplace violence procedures you've been trained on. Code white. The organization you are working for may have a Code White program developed to deal with situations of workplace violence. Code White refers to a trained team response to a threat that is a behavioral emergency involving a client, resident, person supported, family member, or outside intruder. In the event that a Code White is initiated at the facility, all staff will follow the area-specific procedures. Dealing with agitated or aggressive clients. Some suggestions when dealing with clients who are exhibiting agitated or aggressive behavior include: prior to starting care, assess your client's history, care plan, current communications, such as incident reports, especially the reported causes and solutions, and the client's mood before you start your duties. Be aware of what factors trigger, calm, or otherwise affect a client's behavior. Tell your client what you're going to do before you do it. Only one staff speak to the client at a time. Approach the client calmly and confidently while avoiding sudden movements. Keep your stance relaxed. Avoid holding eye contact. This can be seen as aggressive. Offer client time to share their concerns and react in a non-judgmental way. Do not touch client without their express permission to do so. When appropriate, keep space between you and your client. Know where the exits are. Avoid letting your client come between you and an exit from the room. Be aware that your client may become more aggressive when you are assisting with personal care or toileting. Be sensitive to cultural or language barriers. Reassess whether the tasks need to be performed immediately or whether it could wait until the situation has calmed down. If behavior is escalating, stay calm and do not argue or raise your voice. Try to leave at least 2 meters, which is 6 feet, between you and the person and stay off to one side. Watch for signs that the person may strike out. For example, a reddening or other change in skin color, fast breathing, finger pointing or yelling. If appropriate, reassure the person that his or her concerns will be dealt with as soon as possible, and tell your supervisor about the situation as soon as it is safe to do so. Code Silver. The organization you are working for may have developed procedures for dealing with acts of violence where a weapon is present, which is called a Code Silver. Code Silver is a planned response to ensure the safety of all healthcare workers, residents, and visitors when an individual is in possession of a weapon and an enhanced police response is required. Code Silver should be called if there is a threat, attempt, or active use of a weapon to cause harm, regardless of the type of weapon. Code Silver will not result in other staff coming to assist, as it is designed to keep people away from harm. Police will be contacted as soon as Code Silver is called. WHMIS stands for Workplace Hazardous Material Information System. It is a communication system that provides everyone at the workplace health and safety information on the use, handling, and storage of hazardous products. Everyone who works with or is in proximity to a hazardous product in the workplace must have WHMIS training. There may be times when you come across chemical spills at your workplace. If the spill is not a hazardous product and you have the training to, clean up the spill and report it if required. If the spill is from a hazardous product, do not attempt to clean up the spill. Immediately make the area safe for you and everyone and report the spill to the correct individual. Only properly trained personnel should clean up spills of hazardous products. If trained personnel are not available, outside resources must be used. Every worker who works with or is in proximity to a hazardous product in the workplace must have WHMIS training. Additionally, the organization you're at should provide site-specific training and instruction for each of the hazardous products in that workplace. WHMIS regulations require that all products that are classified as hazardous have a label. There are two types of WHMIS labels: supplier and workplace. Supplier labels inform about the product's safety hazards and any safety precautions needed. They will also have a pictogram, a signal word, like danger, and a hazard statement that will be grouped together. Workplace labels are less detailed than the supplier labels. These labels contain the product identifier, safe handling information, and reference to a safety data sheet. If you find a container that has no label, or if the label is illegible, then report this to your supervisor so they can make sure that a new label is put on the container. All products at the workplace classified as being hazardous under WHMIS 2015 need to have a safety data sheet, otherwise known as an SDS. An SDS provides information on the hazards of the product, how to use the product safely, what will happen if not used safely, what PPE is required, and signs and symptoms of exposure. The WHMIS program uses a variety of ways to communicate health and safety information about hazardous products, including product classification, labels, safety data sheets, and worker education and training. It will be your responsibility to ensure that you use any WHMIS training provided. This means ensuring you use any hazardous products in a safe manner based on your training and based on the information provided on a safety data sheet. In the event you encounter a hazardous product that you are not familiar with and you cannot locate the SDS or safety data sheet for instructions, you must immediately report this to a supervisor for further instructions. Under no circumstance should you use or handle any hazardous products unless you have the necessary training or information. This brings us to the end of the EYEWASH Online Learning Quick Response Orientation. Please continue on to complete the final quiz and to receive your course certificate. Thank you.